We are live. Love it.
Live.
Grand Rapids, Michigan. 4 times on for Kathy. You got it. Love it. All right. Hopefully you guys are finding value out of all this. We're loving doing it. So today we've got Cheri Benjamin on, a longtime friend of ours, complete, I don't know if I can say the word badass on here. I probably can. Complete badass.
You're okay.
Yeah.
But I don't consider that.
So let's get rolling with some questions. What do you guys got for us today?
Q&A style. Let's see.
All right. Oh, Jessica, yes, I think I saw your question come in to me earlier. So question 1, if you were to expand your real estate business into another state for the first time, what would your plan of action consist of, and how would you position yourself and your current client base as still 100% available?
Ooh.
Assume like spending 50-50 time in each state. Now, it's so funny you asked that question, considering Cheri has done just that.
Yeah, so, if you look at my name, it says Vegas and Atlanta. So I operate in 2 completely different markets that are almost 2,000 miles apart. And I actually just went under contract on a property, on a listing, which I've never seen at all, yesterday with someone else that's in my brokerage. So what do you do? How do you do this? Like, I get those questions a lot as to how do I do this? I hate to say this, but don't overthink it. You're basically doing the same exact thing that you would do in that market as what you're doing in your new market, okay? So my CRM, my leads are coming in, all of those things are exactly the same as what they were in Atlanta. Same thing, okay? Atlanta, how am I still generating business? Well, everyone thought I was crazy when I would tell them I am listing houses and I have buyers. Now I do have to have a buyer's agent for that, FYI, for the buyers, because they have to physically see them, okay? But for listings, that's mainly what I focus on now if I list a property, because I don't have to walk into it. Reframe your brain. Quarantine should be when you're sharpening your skills, which is what we have all been under. So we're doing virtual listing presentations via Zoom. We're doing those. On Zoom, your client can click that little button and flip the screen around and basically walk you through their house. You don't have to go in it at all. That's what we're doing. So these are homes that I've never physically been in that we're putting on the market. You know, we have a transaction coordinator and we have someone that can list the property. So I don't have to sit there and go through and type in everything in the FMLS and the Georgia MLS and our MLS systems, okay? But it's not as hard as what you think it is. You have to just be very intentional with your client. So things that are extremely important are you have to nail your presentations to them. How do I come up with what? Let's see. Was that a separate question?
Yeah. Should I bring her on to talk?
Yeah, let's bring her on.
Bring her on.
All right, Jessica, we're going to bring you on so you can just have a little back and forth if you need to.
What's up, Jessica?
Hi.
Hi, Jessica.
How are you?
Good.
So
Okay.
I love it. No, you keep going, please.
Oh, okay. So if you haven't already, you've really just gotta sharpen your skills and make sure you're nailing your presentations, but you really must have leverage. Don't forget, my leverage is I have an agent that can show properties for me and not just one. Like do you have a team or are you solo?
I mean, I work with a lot of different people. So I think right now, because I'm queuing up for this, I am looking to partner with a buyer's agent. I have a great transaction coordinator. I just want to be able to make sure that when I tell the people, hey, I am expanding, I'm going to open up something here, but don't worry. I just want to be able to communicate the best way that, don't worry, I'm still here for you 100%. So yeah. I think.
Let me just give you a pitfall that you might run into. Don't do one buyer's agent, because if that one person is not available, what do you do?
Sure.
You know, okay. You can't have just one person for you to rely on. You need 4.
Okay.
You need 4 different ones. at a bare minimum for you to be able to rely on with that. Make sure you guys have a written agreement. That's
Yes.
there. You're at your same brokerage. There's a written agreement that is on file with your brokerage also in reference to that. Okay. Do you have a TC that's there in your market that you're currently in?
Yes, she's awesome.
Perfect. Okay. So dialing in your buyer's consult, dialing in your listing consults, getting very used to, if you start getting used to it now, what market are you in?
I'm in San Diego. I do a lot on the phone already as is.
Perfect. I think it's go out anyways.
Jessica, you're still a big block, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Shout out
love
to
me,
Big Block.
Sam.
Shout out to
Okay.
Sam.
Shout out to Big Block. Sam and Oliver. Okay. So just dial those systems in. Just dial them in. Is really what I would do. And utilize that leverage. Leverage is going to be everything for you. And I can tell you, once you grow and once you get used to this, you're going to start understanding how much you need this leverage. Do you have a mentor right now?
You guys are my mentor.
Love you. Well, then make sure you're connecting all the time.
Yeah.
So for sake of time, because we got to get through the questions a little bit, we'll probably have to kind of wrap it up. But Jessica, does that kind of help?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And you had a second question too. I'll try to fly through this real quick.
Yeah. Thanks.
So I would say the last thing I'm going to add to Cheri's comment, we've done quite a few expansions too. Having a very strong back end, I think, is important. That you have some of those either virtual assistants, virtual transaction coordinators, things that you can leverage from anywhere that are very task and labor driven, not people facing.
Yep.
That's helped us a lot too. To your second question, do you want to go ahead and phrase that so Cheri can hear it too?
Sure. As far as communicating to your clients in your network, you're not just an agent, you're a mentor, and that wherever they go, they should be contacting you. And I think I want to hone in on that niche a little bit more, only because, with LCA referral, I've done at least like 15, 20 more deals a year in virtual, just referral outbound anyways. So I'm curious how to expand upon that, and how would you, again, position yourself in front of people socially on social
Sure.
and all those different platforms in order to say, hey, I'm not just San Diego, like talk to me about everywhere.
I would say two things that I see work really well. So you got consumer facing and agent facing on this. On the agent facing side, travel. Cheri can attest to this too. I mean, we've got a couple of friends, Amy Freeman, that does amazing business. I think she does like 50 transactions a year because
50 transactions a year just off of referrals.
Off of referrals from national agents, because she travels to all the conferences, she builds relationships, and they think of her. And if somebody goes on Lab Coat Agents or any of their sites and they're like, I need an agent here or there, it's always Amy. She's got a whole network of people supporting her, right? So conference travel is a big part of it. For the agent facing side. Also, you can do, huge, I don't care if it's MailChimp or any batch email, you can send out a bunch of email, Facebook target ads to agents right outside your marketplace that are referring people in. That's another thing you can do. Secondarily, I would say on the consumer facing side, become the Angie's List. Become the hub, not the spoke. Do a lot of branded things with your lenders, home inspectors, contractors, plumbers, whatever. You should be sending content out that you're in the videos and in the branding with them, that people are like, oh, this person's got a great network of people. And you got to push the message out there. If you need anything, here's my vendor list. Here's my buyer VIP program. You got to be pushing your vendors to the point that people are like, I don't want to make a move on anything until I talk to Jessica first. That's worked phenomenally for a lot of agents I know. Anything to add to that, Cheri?
No, I think that's great. Any of the other things, and don't forget that if you have their phone number, then video text messages are king. So if you're not using them, I should say queen. Okay, if you're not using them, then make sure that you are doing that. Send a video text message to people. It's opened up 10 times more than what a regular text message is. But getting your point across, connecting with people, you're trying to stay top of mind, but letting them know that, hey, I'm still here for you if you can't get them over the phone, you can't get them, send a video text message, they're going to open it. They're going to at least listen to it. Okay. But that it's something about that face-to-face. It's as close to face-to-face versus being on video in person that you can do.
Awesome.
So the next question, thanks, Jessica. Nice talking to you. The next question, which CRM would you recommend? The old adage is, use we recommend the CRM you're actually going to use, right? I would say, what are you looking for from a CRM? If you're a team, a solo agent, that might be different. Sometimes it's about the most user-friendly. Sometimes it's about the most functional. Yep. I would say that, depending on what your needs are, I mean, if you're looking for the most functional that can do the most things, I mean, something like Infusionsoft is pretty hard to beat, but it's super expensive.
Yeah, it's pretty much out of a lot of people's price budget for
exactly.
Right now.
But if you're looking for something that is user-friendly, that your team will most likely jump in and get the most use out of, something like Follow Up Boss is very user-friendly. So it really depends on what your needs are. Functionality, user-friendliness, maybe advanced workflows, whatever it is, there's going to be different options. So there's no one-size-fits-all. Sometimes it comes down to the things that API with the most things as well. Sometimes people don't want to have an all-in-one system where you're stuck with, for example, a marketing platform that's going to generate leads, in order to get that CRM. So it really comes down to needs. Anything to add to that?
I think that don't overthink this. Look at what your budget is and then narrow it down to ones that fit within that budget. Because as you grow, there are times where, well, let me say this, switching a CRM is a pain in the what. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot in order to do that. But stick with what that budget is and make sure that it's scalable. So that program, that CRM that you're going to use, don't look at only what it does right now for me, but future cast yourself and understand where you're looking at growing to, and that system can grow with you. Okay. So pay attention to that part. Okay. So James says he's having a hard time wrapping his head around buying a house virtually. Can we bring James on? That's a good one. I've got a couple of people who I've heard that from. Having a hard time buying a house virtually. Hey there, James. So we've done this a lot where we've done this prior to quarantine. We've had people who were moving into our market and they've had to buy their properties virtually. They've never seen them, or they don't see them till closing or their final walkthrough when they fly in. So James, what's stumping you around it? Is it because you're used to physically walking into a property and that's what you think is how you would purchase a home? What's stumping you right now?
I guess that's it. I just think that when you're looking at a home, it's hard to get the full atmosphere of the home and that feeling that this is a home I want to live in. You can't smell things. You can't touch things. It's just seems to be, I used to own car dealerships, and so I'm a big proponent on selling. I'm a salesperson myself. I'm just having a hard time gathering my thoughts that, listen, I can't walk through the home. And I guess you can, but to get people to that point, it's been difficult.
So it's a matter of you going through that property with them. I think the hard part is thinking that someone is going to buy it just off of a video. I've looked at several houses on the MLS. I've been consumers. We're actually purchasing property in another state right now that I will probably never walk through when I'm prior to me buying. And it is because the agent that I'm working with got in on video and she's walked me through the house on video. And I said, hey, back up, show me that. What's this? What's that? That's what we've done. I understand what you're saying, reference to it's just looking at an MLS and just a virtual walkthrough, and that might be hard. I think that, what market are you?
In Southern California on the coastal residents.
So James, I'd like to throw something, and Cheri can probably relate to this. The virtual thing, because of COVID, has really caught a lot of people off guard, and we've had to adjust quickly, but virtual sales are not new, and especially when you bring Cheri into this, is we see a lot of this in the military. There is a lot of people that move and purchase houses and move houses, virtually, and the same with relocation. That's been going on for years, and now the rest of the world is kind of catching up to it, right? So you from Southern California, in such a military environment. You could probably talk to some agents that dealt with this a lot, but this is not new. It just now much more expanded than what it was.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, and that's exactly what I was getting at. Thank you, Mike. See,
You
I
know,
miss you, buddy. So that's what I was getting at. Talk to someone who is used to it in those type of markets, beach towns where there's a lot of second homes, because there's a lot of people who sell properties this way, and they've been doing this for years. We've just been thrown into it. So like for my brokerage, I've had to tell people, I said, listen, selling virtually, how many of you guys have sold a property that your buyer has never seen? 50% of them actually raised their hand when we had a team meeting about this. But they didn't think even about that fact that you had a client who was moving from, let's say, Maryland down to Atlanta, and they never saw the house until the final walkthrough, okay? So I'm really going to tell you to discuss it, because this is a lot of a deeper conversation, because you got to get past your mental block, and it won't happen in these little couple of seconds we have left here with you. But talk with someone who has done it and has done it prior to COVID.
And I would say that we all sort of struggle with a fixed mindset at times, where our limited beliefs of what we believe will limit or impact our ability to succeed and kind of adopt and adapt. So, virtual sales have been going on forever, even though you're thinking to yourself, how would anybody want to do this? Well, look at the stats. People have been doing it for years, and it's growing, and it's going to continue to grow. So I would say, James, you got to get more on board with that, get past your own limited belief there. Even though you might not personally ever buy a house virtually, you might not be comfortable, but a lot of people are. So my advice to you is you got to challenge that thought, man.
Gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, next. I see one. Do we want to bring on, how do we say it, on?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so their question is, can you give some insight on someone, I'm thinking, that does not have a system, example, farming, CRM, some helpful processes would be great, some basic tasks in a structured way. Is that correct? Is that what your question is?
Yeah,
like if
that's
you're
my
just
question.
getting started?
Yes, I think they said yes.
Okay, all right. You want to start?
Well, let's see, Cheri, we're kind of going, we play so well off each other. We should paper, rock, scissors. Who takes this one? So I'm going to give a really short answer, then we'll let Cheri jump in and probably improve my answer. She's good at doing that. So what I like to say, since you don't have any systems, like you said, you're not really farming, you're not really, working in the CRM, the first thing that I would do, whether I was an agent for 1 minute or 5 years, if I haven't done this one thing, I would start collecting and building a database. That's where it all begins. That's going to be the foundation of where your career goes. How to do that, which system to do it in, I don't really care. I think just getting a database together so you can start forming action plans around that database is where it starts. Cheri.
Yeah, and don't be a secret agent. So that database can be a spreadsheet, even though we say we don't like that, put it in a CRM, but you just said you don't have it yet, right? And that could be, there's a lot of people out there that, hey, I can't afford to do that, okay? So it's fine. Put it on a spreadsheet if we can initially start there with that. Those people, I'm going to call those people. I'm going to be intentional about talking to them. When I call them, I'm calling every last one of them on that list too. How many people, if you gathered everyone together that how many people do you think you can intentionally put on there? How many people do you think you can do that with?
Probably a couple hundred.
That's a nice number.
Mm-hmm.
A couple hundred is a nice
I just thought to use follow-up bars, but like I said, I never really have a system before to follow up or like just do my day-to-day activities. That's why I want to see where would be a good place to start or how to go about it, so you don't get overwhelmed.
Got it. So you need to have structure in your day. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think ultimately, getting a database together is step one. Step two is putting together a daily schedule that's going to be structured. We all learned to do this in high school, by the way, or even middle school, elementary school. We show up and it's like you have your first hour of math. You're not working on science during math. You're not working on English during math. You're working on math. In the next hour, you go to science. You're not working on math anymore. Like, we structure our days to be focused time and very intentional time. You know what happens over the course of the year? You learn multiple subjects, you finish the whole book, you take all the tests, you retain all the information, and you pass. We've got to go back to that in our real estate careers, because this is what we fall away from very quickly. We end up reacting to the day and really spinning our wheels and getting nothing done. So being intentional about how you manage your time and being intentional about how you manage your database, those two things right there is where it all begins, guys.
Yeah, and do not be afraid of the word. There's some people fear the word when they hear the word time blocking. Don't be afraid of that word, you know? Don't shy away from it. It is what everyone who performs at a high level. Think of all large CEOs, think of big Fortune 500 companies. To get a hold of them, and what I've learned from my buddies over here, you are the CEO of your business. Love that. So, so Fortune 500 companies, your top 1%, their days are completely structured out. Their days are structured out. So where are you looking at growing to? Are you looking at being nothing but a 5-figure income, 6, 7, 8, 9? You know, where are you looking at growing to? Emulate that. Okay, so structure your day out. You have to.
Love it, love it, love it.
Hard things first. Calling your clients, that's hard. Do that first. First 4 hours once you wake up, that's when your brain is the most sharpest. That's when you should be calling your clients.
And we talked about this the other day. We'll bring it up again. Eat the Frog, great book, great concept on that, because it tells you to get the crap out of the way right away in the morning that you don't want to do, so the rest of the day is a breeze.
Yep.
Thank you, guys.
Right. You bet. Good luck there. Next question. With the current situation of the pandemic, what are some expenses that you've eliminated, reduced, or cut, or maybe even added? Cheri, I started with the last one. You want to jump on this one first?
Sure, I can. So added, I actually upped our lead spend. Some people think, why did you do that? I'm trying to cut it. Heck no, I would never cut it. I'm not cutting my CRM. I'm not cutting my lead spend. I'm not cutting those things. If anything, I'm upping it, because what's happening is that all the rest of you guys are lowering it down. Oh, you're bringing Vicky on. Thank you. Hi there, Vicky. So I've added to that, because so much more has opened up. I knew that consumers were going to be online a lot more than what they generally were before, because they're all at home. Okay. So I added to that. Some of the things that I eliminated, I went through and I pulled every last statement that I had, and I had a gazillion. I was getting 1995s and 89.99s to death for things that we never use. So when I talk about the things that I eliminated, those were the things that I did eliminate. I went through my bank statements, I went through my credit card statements, and I got rid of all of those little things that I was paying for that I forgot I was paying for it. And I mean, I might've been paying for it for over a year now, and I never used it. What'd you cut out?
So first thing I'm going to tell you is this. I love the story. You guys know the story back when I think it was like the 1920s with the Depression, when that all kind of started. When things got tight, the story of two major companies that acted very differently in the response to it. And they were cereal companies, Post and Kellogg. Predictably, Post, when things went weird, they cut back on marketing, they cut down on production, cut down on expenses, which Kellogg doubled down on all of those things. And who do you think became the dominant player even through the recession? It was Kellogg. The reality is they're able to say, look, I have a measured ROI. I know what I'm going to do here, what I'm going to actually invest in is going to have a return on that investment very quickly. So instead of reacting out of fear and cutting the wrong things, they double down on the right things. So the question is, what are the right things? If you don't have a trackable return on your investment for everything you're spending, you shouldn't be spending it anyway. In a good market or bad market. I've always said this, I'm a firm believer in it. Good markets hide. Making money actually hides inefficiencies and unwanted expenses. It hides threats to your business. If you're making 20 grand a month, but you're wasting 5 grand a month on things you don't need, but you don't care because you're making money.
Yep.
That's going to get exposed right now. You never should have been spending that money in the first place. You need to track everything, whether it's bringing a return or not. And you have to allow for it to bring a return. Like, for example, if you're going to invest a lot in social media leads, it might take 8-9 months for you to get a return on that, because that's in the nature of those type of leads. So you don't want to cut that if you've been in the game 2 months, right? But my point is if you've been doing something and you can't identify it's giving you an actual return, that's what you cut. For the things that are giving you a return, you double down and invest hard in. It's that simple.
Yep. So Vicki, what things were you thinking about?
So I wasn't actually sure. So, you know, and I've done exactly what you were saying. I've actually added to getting the buyer leads, you know, to come in, or even possibly seller leads. So I have increased my, you know, Facebook lead gen, and you know, of course, Instagram and other areas. So, you know, of course, I'm just kind of looking for any ideas that I had not thought of. But yeah, I definitely agree. I have not gone through in detail with the financial statements. I have seen a few that I've eliminated that actually forgot they were even there. So, but I really appreciate this input.
Yeah, go through it in detail with those if you have not been using them. And like I said, the small stuff, we get $19.99 to death, you know, or $9.99 to death sometimes.
We
so
do.
Go through those and cut those out. Some people might not think that's a big thing, but that's an extra. You know, you cut out 5 of those. Now I got $100 I can go ahead on and spend to up my lead gen.
And I'll tell you, I think a lot of us get stuck in P&Ls where we look backwards as a lagging indicator of what we spent. I'd love to see you all get so proactive in understanding your finances that you can create budgets that are designed to spend in certain areas because you know what the return is going to be. Instead of just looking backwards and saying, oh, I spent X and made Y, I'd rather have you say, I'm going to spend X and that's going to produce Y. And you know what? I'm doing well here, so I'm going to spend more here and produce even more here. Like, be able to predictively, not a lagging indicator of what you spent, but a leading indicator of what you're going to spend with a predictable return. That's how sharp we need to get in our day-to-day finances. In real estate, we don't tend to do that.
We don't, because we don't look at it as a business the way that we should look at it.
Correct. Guys, we're at
Time
time.
for one more? No? All right.
We're at time. I think we gotta get going. But you know what? If you didn't get your answer today, we're gonna be on again tomorrow, right, Dan? I think we're on again tomorrow on Friday, right? So if you didn't get on today, we'll get you on tomorrow. Thanks again for your patience and waiting for us to get through these. We love it. We love helping you guys. With that, Cheri, love seeing you again. We'll catch up with you soon.
All right. Bye, everybody.
See ya.